Welcome to this video. We're going to take the McMichael case and we're going to work through the calculations that allow us to see what was achieved towards the objective of getting this project approved and how we might think creatively to get this done when it's not obvious at hand how we can get to the numbers to the payback period needed. So what are the key issues with the McMichael case? Well, procurement has identified this opportunity, and people in purchasing love these opportunities. They don't grow on trees, and when you find one and it starts looking good, like you can make some money towards your professional targets, you don't just let them go. You dig in deep, and you keep digging until you sometimes finally let them go. But if you work on them, a lot of times you can get them, work them to a point that they become more attractive. So this is a good example of that. We have some hard cost savings that can go towards budget, towards targets, towards goals of the procurement department, and we can localize a supplier. So there's soft benefits as well, and I think quality is mentioned in the case. So there's inventories, there's stockouts, there's local supplier, easier to collaborate with, all these benefits of being local. The payback period required is 15 months. So as we have discussed, companies are different in what they require for a payback period. You see different things in different industries, different firms, different management teams. And the shorter the months required, it means the harder it is to spend capital in that company. It's important to know why that would be different, right? So some firms are very focused, and many firms are very focused on that ratio of return on assets. So the more we take on debt and borrow money and take our cash and plow it into investments, the more we need to be focused on the return on those investments. So a short period of months, a smaller number of months, means it's harder to get projects approved in a company that has 12-month payback versus 24-month payback. All right, so the payback period required from this firm, from McMichael, is 15 months, and procurement is analyzing how to make this more attractive so they can meet the 15-month payback. Their initial assessment did not meet that payback. So some of the key questions we're going to walk through. What are the value of the current contracts? When we know the value of the current contract and the value of the new contract, we can see what the savings is. Savings is a key component of calculating payback. We're going to look at the key elements of OSA, the new supplier's offer, and try to understand their cost in a real simple way. You get into a complex manufacturing industry, you'll have very elaborate cost breakdowns required from your suppliers. So this is a very simplified version of what you may see in your internships and so forth as a cost breakdown, okay, provided by the supplier. We'll look at what opportunities there are and what's the impact on the payback in months, and then see what is the savings required for us to achieve the 15-month payback, and can we make any arguments to try to get there. All right, and that's a fairly logical sequence. Of course, it'd be dynamic, it'd be very different in any example. We could be saying, how can we get the freight down? Why do we have to carry so much inventory? Is the tool really $56,000? So we can attack these things from so many different vectors as buyers, as professional purchasing people, and try to understand better where the opportunities are. So we'll look at a simple model of that. So the key initial calculations, they told us that there's a volume of 300,000 pieces a year, and it's 36 cents a unit coming from the French supplier. If we multiply that, simply we'll see that we're spending $108,000 per year right now, and that if we want to make a change, we know that it's a $56,000 price. We're going to just assume that's been fully negotiated and not attack that one in this model. New spend, $300,000 times 27 cents would be 81. So 108 minus 81 gives us our initial savings. If we just take this at face value without working it, we got a $27,000 saving. $56,000 cost for a $27,000 savings means we get our $56,000 investment back. Excuse me. We get our $56,000 back after 2.07 years, right? Which the company measures in months, 24.9 months. So the 2.07 times 12 months, 24.9 months. And so it's rejected. And for purchasing people, that's always a bummer. It's a bummer because we live to find these things where we can say, wow, I can impact quality, inventory, the cost, which is a primary metric of performance in purchasing as well, right? So we're not happy with that. We're not accepting it. What can we do? So OSA has provided a firm price. This would be a simple version of a cost breakdown. They've said, look, we've got 16 cents in the resin, the raw materials that we need for this. We have direct labor of 3 cents per piece, and the remaining is overhead. Now, they didn't identify SG&A, profitability, and everything. So for this simple model, we're assuming, whatever else they threw in there, that 0.08 is all the remaining cost and their profits. Total price, 27 cents, and they have said they are firm. So purchasing gets busy. They look and they say, hey, we found another department that says they'll buy 100,000 pieces of this per year if we can localize it for 27 cents or better, I'm sure. But at 27 cents, they'll do it. So more pieces, taking the 300,000 to 400,000 means we're spreading that cost, that $56,000 over more pieces. We're going to chew away at it faster because we're eating away at it faster, right? The allocation will be lower. We also found that there's the resin bead supplier is offering us 5% reduction on the raw material for that increase, for that 33% or 100,000 piece increase, taking it up to 400,000 units, right? So if we're going to buy more raw material, we can get a better price on the raw material. So what would be a revised payback with those changes? Well, the volume goes from 400,000. We would use the 400,000 as the baseline so that it's comparable. So if we were buying 400,000 at 36 cents minus if we were buying 400,000 at 27 cents is $36,000 a year in savings. The $56,000 investment divided by that 36 gets us down to 1.56 years, 18.7 months. Bummer. We're getting closer. We're knocking on the door, but we're not there. And the boss has told us 15 months is firm. So that cost of resin was reduced by 16 cents for resin times 0.95 is 15.2 cents for the resin, and we should bake that in and see what number it gives us. The new price at 0.152 of resin plus the labor plus the overhead and profits is 26.2. We can take that at the 400,000 and compare it again to the 36 of the supplier over in France. 400,000 times 0.36 minus 400,000 times 0.262, 39,200 in savings per year. We can extend that to 56,000 divided by that 39.2 is 1.43 years. We're still clawing away at it, but we're not there. 17.1 months. So it's important to understand that these are the hard savings we've identified. And this is taking, all the complex parameters of a negotiation and hard and soft savings and saying, if the company's firm on this, we're awful close. But that's their rejection point. That's the company's walk-away point. It's not slush. Very rare that you get these walk-away points violated because once a company sets a standard like this, if they just constantly violate it and say, well, we say 15, but really we mean 17.1, or really we mean 18, or whatever, it ceases to mean anything. So we're assuming the company's firm on that 17.1. We're very close. What can we do? What else can we do? And hopefully some of you got to this as you worked through the case. So what do we need? What price do we have to have for us to sell this to management? If we take the 15 months, we know that equals 1.25 years. 12 plus 3, 1.25 years. The 56,000 divided by the 1.25 tells us the annual savings required is going to be 44,800. However we achieve it over whatever volumes, that's the number we've got to earn back in 1.25 years, right? Or in 1 year, sorry, to the annualized number to justify the 56,000. So the 44.8 divided by the 400,000 units tells us per unit what the price reduction needs to be, 0.112. So we need an 11.2% price reduction from the 36 cents. If we take that 36 cents back out to 0.112, we got 24.8. So we need 24.8. What we really would love now in life is to think through carefully how to approach OSA and say, are you sure you want to walk away from this? I can only pay this. This is my bottom line. I can pay 24.8 cents. Are you sure you don't want it? I'm going to go look at some other suppliers and see if I can make this fly. Do you want it or not? So if we think about those arguments, we would check from the limited information we have in this case, right? We can't go after the tooling. We're not negotiating the tooling. But if we check the overhead and profit as the last variable that they've given us here in this simplified environment, and their original proposal, right, 300,000 at 0.08 in that overhead and profit, means they were going to sell us those 300,000 units at 27 cents to earn $24,000 into their overhead, their contribution margins, their SG&A, their profits, that other bag under that simplified cost structure. If we reduce the price to 24.8 contribution margin, and we take a new overhead and profit of 0.066, right? Basically, to get us to there, we reduce the overhead of 0.08 by the amount needed to get us to the 24.8. Means we need a reduction, a reduction of 0.014 to get us to 0.066 in that category. If we take the 400,000 times that remaining overhead SG&A of 0.066, we would see that this business, OSA, is going to bring in $26,400. It's an improvement of $2,400 over the $24,000 they were originally going to bring into their business. Now they can make, they're not going to, oh gee, we didn't know, right? This is a very simplified model. But of course it should be stated. Of course it should be stated. They may say, well, based on our fixed and our variable costs, that it doesn't translate to the bottom line. This would actually be a loss for us. But we don't know that. We don't know what their profit margin is. They haven't showed us, right? So using the limited information we have, we can at least say to them, look, this is contributing more in funds to run your business than your initial proposal. Are you sure you want to walk away? Okay, they're also likely profiting on that $56,000 in tools. Remember, as described in the case, they're making that tool. Well, they're not making tools for free. They're making tools to make some money. That's another very controversial item as we negotiate between sellers and buyers about the ability to earn any profit on tooling. It's a game inside the game. The big OEM customers will tell you that is absolutely forbidden, and the suppliers figure out a way to do it. So there's probably profits in there in that $56,000. That concludes the case explanation. If there's anything about that that doesn't resonate, look at the numbers and think through where these figures came from, and I think you'll find easily that you can tie it all back. I would recommend that you close this and go back and rework the case individually so that you're prepared for the exam. There'll be something, similar. Being able to shape this out and plug these numbers in and think, okay, now what do I do next? It would be very helpful for you to have gone through this. All right, in your teams is excellent, and then practice individually. That's it for today. Have a great day.